Lamar Jackson has been one of the most polarizing figures in the NFL since the day he was drafted, and for years, a specific corner of the football media world has clung tightly to a narrative that tried to box him in. Great athlete, not a quarterback. Can't win in the postseason. He'll be figured out eventually. That rhetoric has lived for way too long, but now, even some of the loudest critics are starting to fold. One of the most vocal of them all, yes, Nick Wright, just had a moment that shook the NFL media landscape. On his own Mahomes Mountain, a segment literally named after Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson was placed at the very top, above Mahomes, on his mountain. For anyone who's followed Nick Wright's commentary over the years, that's monumental, almost surreal. Let's just call it what it is. The Lamar Jackson hater era is slowly dying. And it's not because people suddenly want to change their opinions out of kindness. It's because the man has left them no choice. Numbers don't lie. Wins don't lie. And above all, what Lamar Jackson is doing on the field right now simply can't be denied. It's not just about him being electric with his legs or crafty in the open field. He's evolved. He's refined his passing. He's leading, commanding, and dissecting defenses like the elite quarterback that Baltimore always believed he could be. And now, even the national media, the same media that often brushed him aside, is starting to speak the truth. Nick Wright calling Lamar Jackson the best quarterback right now may sound like a compliment, but you can't help but feel like it's setting the stage for something else. Maybe a dramatic Monday night showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs where Mahomes tries to reclaim his throne. Maybe a narrative twist waiting to unfold depending on how Lamar performs in primetime. But regardless of what's coming, we're living in the present. And in the present, Lamar is that guy. Let's talk numbers because these aren't just solid stats. They're historic. Through the first 2 weeks of the season, Lamar leads the NFL in touchdown percentage, passer rating, QBR, adjusted yards per attempt, and is tied for first in passing touchdowns. He has 0 interceptions. That's not just efficient. That's surgical. That's elite decision-making. And it's not just a hot streak. Over his last 20 games, he's thrown for nearly 5,000 yards, rushed for over 1,000 more, racked up 57 total touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions. His passer rating in that span, 125.1. These are video game numbers. Numbers that should silence every remaining skeptic. And the wildest part? It's not even just about the stats. It's how he's doing it. The Ravens offense hasn't even played its best football yet. They're still getting guys healthy, still fine-tuning things. And still, Lamar is making it look effortless. Not because it is effortless, but because he puts in the work to make it look that way. Every year, he comes back better, sharper, more locked in. You can see it in his pocket awareness. You can feel it in his throws, quicker reads, better anticipation, smarter risk management. And you can hear it in the way his teammates talk about him. Lamar isn't just a highlight machine anymore. He's a complete quarterback, a mature leader, and a problem for every defense that lines up across from him. It's funny how the same people who said Lamar would never last as a passer are now trying to rewrite history. Some have flipped entirely. Others are dancing around their old takes, hoping fans forget. But fans remember. And more importantly, Lamar remembers. You can see it in how focused he is. No extra words. No need for attention. He lets the play do the talking. That's the mark of a man who's not chasing validation. He knows who he is. And right now, so does everyone else. And yet, it's not just the haters flipping. The way he's commanding respect from his peers, from guys like Mahomes, from other top-tier QBs, speaks volumes. We're entering a point in the NFL where Lamar Jackson's greatness is no longer an opinion. It's becoming a fact. And if this is how he looks in September, imagine what's coming in January. Now, all of this sets the stage for what might be one of the most anticipated matchups of the season, Ravens versus Lions on Monday night, followed by a showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs. Detroit tried to get sneaky this week, signing Malik Cunningham, a former Raven who was briefly a quarterback and wide receiver on the practice squad. Now, let's be honest. We've seen teams do this before. Sign a guy who kind of plays like Lamar, throw him on scout team, and hope he can mimic the unmimicable. It never works. You can't replicate Lamar Jackson in practice. No one can move like him, throw like him, or improvise like him. Cunningham can try to emulate it, but there's no blueprint for Lamar. Defenses don't prepare for him. They survive him. Sure, maybe Cunningham shares a few tips about formations or tendencies, but let's be real. By the time the first quarter ends, all of that goes out the window. You still have to tackle the man. You still have to chase him down in space. You still have to try to cover every weapon while accounting for a quarterback who can break the game at any moment. There's no schematic cheat code for that. There's only fear, and Detroit knows it. As for the Ravens, they've got a few injury concerns, but the core is holding strong. Kyle Van Noy is expected to miss some time with a hamstring issue, which could lead to more snaps for guys like David Ohabo or Mike Green. And yeah, hamstrings are tricky, especially for veteran players. Healing timelines vary, but when you're playing at NFL speed, you can't afford to rush back. The Ravens have seen that mistake before. They know how to be patient, even when the stakes are high. And then there's Patrick Ricard, who's been out longer than expected. That injury's proven to be a little more stubborn than the team hoped, and Harbaugh has already admitted it's moving slower than they'd like. Ricard's role might not always show up on the stat sheet, but his impact in the trenches is massive. The Ravens love using him in unique ways, and when he's not there, it changes how they execute certain packages. But again, they're not forcing it. They want Ricard back at full strength, not limping around at 80%. And we can't forget about Isaiah Likely. He practiced in a limited capacity this past week, and while his return might not be immediate, it's coming. That said, fans need to temper expectations. Coming off a foot injury like his takes time and rhythm. You can't expect Likely to step in and be an instant game changer, especially with guys like Mark Andrews and Charlie Kolar holding it down. The Ravens know what they have in Likely, but they're not going to rush him either. And that's the smart play. Get him back when he's himself, not before. Because look, if there's one thing we've seen from Baltimore this season, it's patience. Patience with player development. Patience with narratives. Patience with results. And that patience is starting to pay off. They're sitting at 1-1, fresh off a strong win against Cleveland, and headed into a Monday night game with real momentum. The offense may not be perfect yet, but it's explosive. The defense? Getting better by the week. And at the center of it all, standing tall, calm, and unbothered, is Lamar Jackson, a man who's heard every doubt, seen every headline, and is now forcing the entire league to give him his flowers. As we head into this Monday night clash against the Detroit Lions, the storylines continue to stack up. On one side, you've got a Baltimore team that's finally starting to find its identity, blending the explosive athleticism of Lamar Jackson with a defense that's proving more resilient than expected. On the other, a Detroit squad that's been one of the league's most surprising risers, full of grit, confidence, and a head coach who's made toughness his entire brand. But beneath the surface of this matchup is something even more intriguing, a chess match between preparation and reality. The Lions think they're clever. Signing Malik Cunningham to the practice squad raised eyebrows for a reason. It's a move teams have tried before. Grab a mobile quarterback with even a hint of similarity to Lamar. Hope he can mimic the style in practice, and convince yourself you're ready. But again, this is a game that's not played on paper. It's played on grass, under the lights, and at full speed. Cunningham might offer a small window into the structure of Baltimore's offense, or maybe drop a few subtle tendencies from his time with the team, but that's not going to stop what's coming. You don't prepare for Lamar Jackson by watching tape or running scout drills. You prepare by understanding that the moment you think you've figured him out, he'll hit you with something you've never seen. And even beyond the whole Cunningham conversation, the Lions might be walking into a buzzsaw they aren't fully ready for. This is a Ravens team that's starting to feel itself. The defense, after getting carved up by Buffalo in Week 1, came back strong against the Browns. Roquan Smith was everywhere, the front seven tightened up, and the secondary looked more connected. There was a clear sense of urgency, and a pride in fixing what went wrong. It wasn't perfect, but it was a step toward becoming the kind of defense Baltimore fans expect. And then there's the offense. Even when they're not firing on all cylinders, the Ravens are putting up points. They dropped 41 on Cleveland without even feeling like they hit top gear. That should terrify the rest of the league. When Lamar is playing this efficiently, spreading the ball, avoiding turnovers, and still giving you those signature jaw-dropping runs, it means the foundation is there for something special. It's not just about the highlight reel anymore. It's about sustainability, consistency, control. And that's where the conversation circles back to how Baltimore has managed this team differently this season. Injuries have always haunted this franchise. In past years, We've seen the team rush players back only to watch them go down again. But this time, there's been a noticeable shift. You can see it with how they're handling guys like Isaiah Likely, Patrick Ricard, and even Kyle Van Noy. The coaching staff seems more focused on the long-term picture. They want guys ready for the stretch run, for the division battles, for the playoff push. Not just another early season win. And it makes sense, because if this team stays healthy, they can beat anyone. Still, depth becomes crucial in these moments. And that's why the practice squad shuffle matters. Losing center Nick Samak to Carolina might not seem like a big deal to some, but it chips away at depth in the trenches. The Ravens value versatility and consistency up front, especially with a quarterback like Lamar who thrives on timing and rhythm. That offensive line, already dealing with moving pieces, needs stability. That's why moves like bringing back Malik Ham carry weight. Every small adjustment is part of a bigger picture. And while we're talking about player value, it's impossible not to mention the return of some injured names. The Ravens are playing it safe, but they know getting guys like Isaiah Likely back on the field changes the dynamic. Likely might not leap into a dominant role right away, but his skill set opens up so much for the offense. He's not just a replacement for Mark Andrews, he's a complement. When both are healthy and on the field together, this offense becomes harder to read, harder to scheme against. But like we said before, expectations need to be reasonable. Coming off a foot injury, especially one that impacts explosiveness and sharp cuts, takes time. And the Ravens know that. They're not looking for instant results. They're looking for long-term impact. What's interesting, too, is how the players themselves are buying into this mindset. The pressure to return quickly is always there. Every guy wants to be on the field. But there seems to be a mutual understanding this season, from the training staff to the locker room, that smart recovery beats fast recovery. Look at how they're handling Jaire Alexander. The team knows what he brings, but they're not throwing him into the fire until he's truly ready. And that maturity, that patience, is something we haven't always seen in years past. Now, if you zoom out a bit, it's clear that this upcoming stretch for the Ravens is massive. After Detroit, it's Kansas City. 2 statement games, back-to-back. Games that could reshape the AFC power rankings. Games that will test Lamar Jackson in very different ways. Against the Lions, it's about navigating a tough, physical defense with a chip on its shoulder. Against the Chiefs, it's about going blow for blow with Patrick Mahomes in a heavyweight quarterback duel that the NFL world will be watching like a playoff preview. And yeah, the Nick Wright storyline adds fuel to that fire. You know how this works. He puts Lamar at the top of Mahomes' mountain, then lets the hype simmer just in time for a potential Mahomes redemption arc. It's entertainment. It's media. But for Lamar and the Ravens, it's real. Because this isn't just a battle for rankings or headlines. It's a chance for Lamar to cement his status in real time. The league can't ignore him anymore. They can't say he's just a runner. They can't say he folds under pressure. Every excuse has been peeled away, and what's left is a quarterback who's fully evolved. And if he walks out of the next 2 weeks with wins over Detroit and Kansas City, there won't be any more debates. Just respect. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In what is arguably the most shocking news to hit the NFL this offseason, whispers have turned into a roar as sources suggest that John Jenkins, the powerhouse defensive lineman known for his relentless pressure on quarterbacks and game-changing presence, has announced his retirement. The news, still swirling through locker rooms and sports talk circuits, has left fans, analysts, and even teammates stunned. Jenkins, who has been a mainstay in the league for over a decade, reportedly made the announcement quietly, avoiding the usual fanfare, but the ripple effects are already impossible to ignore. Speculation is now running wild. Some insiders hint that Jenkins' decision stems from lingering injuries, while others suggest a desire to step away while still at the top of his game. Could it be a personal choice, or is there something more behind the scenes? Sources close to the situation refuse to confirm the specifics, but the excitement and disbelief in the sports community are palpable. Social media has erupted, with fans expressing disbelief and rival teams reportedly recalibrating their strategies in anticipation of his absence. The chatter doesn't stop there. Rumors indicate that several franchises may have already reached out to Jenkins, hoping to coax him back or secure a consulting role, His experience and leadership are undeniably valuable, both on and off the field. Meanwhile, teammates are said to be grappling with the reality that one of the most intimidating figures in recent NFL history might no longer be suited up on game day. The locker room atmosphere, according to sources, has been a mix of admiration, disbelief, and an undercurrent of worry about the upcoming season without Jenkins' formidable presence. As the story develops, fans are left to wonder, will this retirement be permanent, or is the NFL about to witness the classic comeback season from a legend who still has more to prove? One thing is certain, whether he's on the field or off, Jenkins' impact on the league is undeniable, and the buzz surrounding his shocking exit will dominate headlines and conversations for weeks to come. The NFL landscape may never look quite the same without him. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.